Drum roll, please. Welcome back to another episode of Tavora Talks. I am Cash. I'm here with my partner in cybercrime, Matt Mosley. Matt, what's up, Matt? What day is it? Wednesday. Happy Wednesday.
Yeah, halfway through the week, just
Halfway.
counting down the moments till the weekend.
I feel like the second the weekend's over, that's how I feel.
God,
Sunday at midnight, I start counting down again.
yeah, anxiety starts building up. You know, more people have heart attacks on Monday.
Really? On
Any other
Monday
day
or
than
like
yep.
leading into Monday?
No, on Monday.
On Monday?
Although I've heard that I'd have to get you the actual facts. We'll link it
Yeah.
in. We'll link it in the
Look into
description.
I want an episode just on that. Statistics of high heart attacks on Monday and the primary cause. You know, a lot of places have like 3-day weeks now. I think that should be a thing.
I used to work 4 days, 4 10s, and dude, having a 3-day weekend was amazing. Fridays I would go to the theater back before COVID-19, obviously.
Yeah.
And before my days at Tora. But I'd go to the theater on, whatever the opening movie was that week. And I'd be the only one there at the first showing at 11 a.m. or noon or whatever.
On Friday.
It was great.
You know, I have to say something about I never understood people that watch movies in the early daytime. Like in the AM is strange to me to go to the theater and watch a movie at like 8 a.m.
Well, I'm by myself, so it's not like I have anybody to talk to.
I'm not saying you're like noon is okay, but 8 a.m. Have you ever watched a movie
8 a.m.? No.
in the theater?
No. What are you gonna eat popcorn at 8 a.m.? Come on.
There was people. I used to work at this coffee shop, all right, back in the day, that was under a movie theater. And sure enough, I would get there like 6 a.m. because that's what time you open for coffee, right? The place upstairs, there was like this crowd. They would come every morning. The same people. They had an agenda to watch like 30 movies or 40 movies that month.
I don't know. I don't understand.
They exist. They're like, the mall walkers. I used to work in a mall too.
Yeah.
Same thing, 6 a.m. Like I would open, boom, they would be there too. I'm like, what are you guys doing here? Like, I have to be here. Why are you guys here?
Yeah. I remember my mall job, and you'd be there and the gate's still, locked on your store, but you'd see all these like old people walking the mall.
Ready to go. I'm like,
dude, like an hour, maybe an hour and a half before the mall even opens.
I don't know.
Yeah. Crazy.
I mean, they're nice malls, but I'd rather be outdoors, I guess. Who knows?
See, here in Portland, you kind of have to do that unless you want to walk in the rain. So.
Oh, true. Okay, I could see that in certain climates.
And during COVID, like we've taken our kids over to the mall near us a couple times just to do something, but out of the rain. Just to give them something to do, escape, get away from the cabin fever. So anyway. But I don't know about watching movies at 8 a.m. in the morning.
Well, let's kind of jump into it. We're talking about some news this week, hot news of the week, right? Speaking about escaping, maybe like escaping your city because its water supply is poisoned.
Yeah.
What about that? That's one thing on our topic. Another one is I'm going to pass
Michigan
it to
would like to have a word with you.
The other one I'm going to pass to you for hot topic of the week, number 2. Go for it. What are we getting into, man?
Yeah, so the company behind Cyberpunk 2077 and The Witcher 3 and maybe some others, but those are the big ones that I know of. Sorry, I'm not a big gamer anymore. But the company CD Projekt Red was attacked or hit with ransomware this week. So, yep.
This week?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
They came into the office and they had a few devices that were fully encrypted. They had a nice little ransom note. It said, "You have been pwned epically." And the attackers even called them out by name, said, "Hello, CD Projekt." So they knew who they were dealing with. They knew.
Oh man, that was targeted for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And so CD Projekt Red has said that they will not pay the ransom. They are able to recover, but it will take some time. Maybe those attackers, while they're there, could patch some of the bugs that are in Cyberpunk. That'd be kind of cool.
That'd be nice.
Like at least played that game.
I haven't. I mean, I tried. You told me about it, and then I go to try to download it the same night. I think PlayStation pulled it from their network because of all these bugs. So
Yeah.
I never got a chance to
Yeah, that game was 10
play
years
it.
in the making or something like that. I think it moved from platform to platform. There's
Right,
even
I
some
heard.
older versions of it, but it used to be a tabletop role playing game, a desktop role
Oh,
playing game.
really? I don't know that. That's interesting.
And so they basically ported that over, and the game's cool. It's a lot of fun, but man, there's some bugs, like just random stuff that happens. Like you won't even be able to finish a mission because the person who's supposed to call you doesn't call you, or they call you and they come up on the video screen and they don't talk, and
Mm,
you're just stuck there. Like you can't do anything.
that's a problem.
Yeah, cars crash randomly. Like they just like their path, their movement path is like off, and then they'll just run into the wall. You're just like, oh, okay.
Maybe that's why the game is like so faulty.
Oh
Maybe
yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, and
maybe
so
they've been hacked and like some of the code just never got uploaded. There's like patches missing that no one ever did a final scan on.
yeah, it could be. I mean, I have no idea. Supposedly
How
they're
did they
gonna
get hacked?
release
Do
it,
you know the
but
details? How did they get in?
there is no details around. At least I don't think there's any details. But basically, we can all assume it was probably like some sort of email phishing. Let me just scan through here real quick. Make
Yeah,
sure I got
usually humans
everything.
are the primary culprit, right?
Yep.
Click on everything.
The attack was coordinated by a little known ransomware group called Hello Kitty. That's
Okay.
a new one for me. I haven't heard of that one.
It's creative. I kind of like that. It's maybe, very um I don't know, colorful.
I mean, it's creative, but it's also
But it's
biting
cool.
off of the actual Hello Kitty.
Maybe it's a group of hacker girls. That'd be cool.
So, but they allegedly exfiltrated accounting, administration, legal, HR, and investor information. So before encrypting the company's information. So that will be interesting to hear how that all plays out.
Oh
And
wow, they really hit them hard then.
right, yep. So and they are located in Poland, I think. So um, just let me confirm that. I thought I just read that. But anyway, they would, if they are part of the European Union, they're going to fall under the GDPR. So that will be interesting to see how that all plays out. Enjoy those fines. Maybe
Good
that's
luck.
why they're not negotiating. They need all their money for to pay off the fines to GDPR.
Well, it happens to the best of us, ransomware, I guess.
It does.
Right? They only target the really big guys. So if you've been a target of ransomware, I think kind of in some way take that as like like a little kudos, like good job, because you're on the list.
Yeah, I mean, I think they hit anybody they can hit, but the ones that make the news are always the big ones, right? And the
That's
ones
true.
that pay off are obviously going to be the big ones. But we've had a couple of engagements where they were like low level companies that one or two machines got hit, and well, and we've had some that were kind of wide scale, but still a small company, but they ended up paying the ransom and got everything back. So
What did these guys do? Did they pay the ransom?
they did not. They did no negotiations. So
Nothing.
they are just recovering on their own, which is the best route to go because there's so many other things you could open up when paying the ransom. There's the potential of not even getting the right decryption keys, all that good stuff. So, yeah,
Well, I hope they have backups.
always have backups. That's the way to go, man. You got to have the backups.
Right. I
Endpoint
hope they have
protection to
backups
detect
somewhere.
the attack, and then if you are attacked and it is successful, then roll back. So
Roll back. Roll back reminds me of those old school Walmart commercials. Remember those? Roll back, or was it? Do you
I
remember
thought
that?
you were gonna be like, I was thinking of DMX.
what DMX song?
I don't know, like a Rough Riders type song.
That's fine. Speaking of rough riding, um, check this out. So this place in Florida, it's a city in Florida. Okay, it's called Oldsmar, I think, right? Is that the
Yeah,
name of the
Oldsmar.
city?
Yep,
Yep. So their water treatment facility got hacked. I'm sure you heard about this,
I
right?
did.
We were
Yeah.
kind of talking about it a little bit. it's pretty interesting how it happened and like what happened, but they're saying the water system got poisoned. So, what have you heard? What have you read into it?
Um, so I think the way it was is through remote desktop, right? They got in through TeamViewer. Is that correct?
TeamViewer. Yep, I read that. TeamViewer. That was the culprit.
Now,
They
was
said
that
that.
just sitting there open like we find it all the time, or was that the result of social engineering? Because that also happens.
No, so they don't know exactly from what I read about the TeamViewer, exactly how they manipulated TeamViewer to get in, but it's an old version of TeamViewer, nonetheless, been
Oh,
sitting there for like 6 months dormant. So I'm sure like, TeamViewer probably gets patched every day, right? Just like any other app. So 6 months of that, I'm pretty sure they did something, some enumeration, maybe got in. Um, and then so what happened is this guy goes and he cranks like one of the chemicals to 100 times the amount that it's supposed to be, right? But the good news is the person that's sitting there like watching this, watching these thermostats, knobs, and all the bells and whistles, he notices this and he turns it back down really quick and they figure this out. But nonetheless, um, yeah, that was the cause, which is
yeah.
pretty
So it
crazy.
was supposedly the intruder spent between 3 to 5 minutes inside the system and changed the sodium hydroxide level
There you go. Yep.
from 100 parts per million to 11,100 parts per million. So significant increase. And yeah, like you said, thankfully someone was watching that. Now I looked up sodium hydroxide, usually found in like cleaning products,
Okay.
but it basically is acidic, right? Like so it could do some major damage. Could maybe even cause chemical burns. It's highly soluble in water, so you wouldn't even really notice it. You'd probably taste it, but you wouldn't see it. And apparently can break down protein, so it would definitely do some damage, if not kill people at that level. So
Yeah,
pretty
fortunately they
scary.
were able to catch it in time because I think, yeah, that would cause a lot of chaos for sure.
Yeah, I mean that was probably a dry run. I don't know who this hacker is or what they're linked to, but I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of these dry runs by other countries, just seeing what can they do if in the event that they need to go to war with America. So,
That's crazy.
and
And
I'm sure we do it to other countries too. I mean, I don't know if we're
the
trying to
crazy
kill
part
people.
is the more you read into the article, right? It's not just that the fact that TeamViewer was on there for a while, not just this facility, but facilities like this that have a lot of government funding and whatnot. They're already strapped as enough as it is for cash to pay like payroll and stuff, right? So their like systems go really compromised. Like this facility apparently is still using Windows 7, right?
Yeah.
So not to say that the Windows 7 was the cause of this attack, because that wasn't, but nonetheless, I mean Windows 7's been end of life for a while now.
Right. I'm actually surprised they don't have anything older than that. They probably do. So,
Yeah, exactly. They probably do have something even older. So back to what you're saying, if like I'm like another country trying to test the limits, I mean, just imagine how many of these small town water facilities there are everywhere.
yeah.
There's no way they're all running, the latest next gen antivirus.
Right. Exactly. And I mean, TeamViewer itself is not, it could be configured wrong or even not configured securely, I should say, where it just is wide open, right? You just have to connect to the server and then you're in, I believe, because it'll set up as a server and client. And then typically what happens is, like IT will call you and say, okay, give me your like a Zoom meeting ID, but it's a
Yep.
team viewer ID.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
then you just connect to that machine. But I think you can set it up to where it automatically answers those remote calls and then just starts the session right away. I could be wrong, but and then
No, you
also
can. You can
they
do that
do
if
no
using the
password.
test.
So there could have been a bunch of things that happened. It didn't even need to be an operating system or even a vulnerability. It could have just been simply connecting to an open port. So but yeah, I was doing a pen test a few years back, and I got into a system that was in an environment, and it was Windows 2000, And I was like, score, like 2000, I'm gonna be able to take care, take advantage of this system.
Dang, that's pretty old.
And yeah, because this was probably 2016-ish when I did this pen test.
That's still pretty. That's still
It's old.
yeah,
Yeah, it was
yeah.
way out of date. And but so far out of date that like none of my tools worked on it. Like none of my like Mimikatz didn't work on it or anything like that. I can't remember if Mimikatz worked, but I just remember like dropping tools on this box and like not being able to really do a whole lot. Like not without having to like get some scripts and stuff like that. But anyway, so yeah, I'm sure these old systems exist in these environments, no doubt about it. Especially with the some of the clients that we have that are in that same vertical.
Yep.
We've seen some of that stuff, but this isn't the first time. Excuse me, this isn't the first time that this has been reported to Department of Homeland Security. So there was another incident like this in 2011 in Springfield, Illinois, where a hacker got in, took screenshots showing that they had access to the wastewater treatment plant in.
Yeah, I think that's a big risk factor in general. I mean, it's
Yeah.
always been a security highlight, right? These SCADA systems and whatnot.
Yep. Yep. For sure.
So,
Yeah, I mean, it's really
because
these
I mean,
companies, they put on these web interfaces and stuff like that, and mini web servers, lightweight web servers on these devices so that people can manage them, and then people put them in and they don't properly secure them. And we've been saying this for years, right? That this was a thing, and you can go on Shodan and stuff like that and search for these things, and they're just wide open. I mean, people have got, there's like Google Dorks out there and stuff like that that you can do these searches to find these things on top of other searches that are within Shodan, that are readily available online that people can put together these creative searches and find these things. So I don't know. It all goes back to kind of knowing what assets you have, scanning your network on a regular basis, and
mhm.
seeing what's exposed to the internet, and then locking it down from there. And the number one thing is if you don't need it, turn it off. Right? Like
Yeah, for
I'm not
sure.
saying
At the
turn off
very
like the
minimum.
air conditioning unit. I'm saying turn off the web interface. If you're not going to use the web interface, turn it off. Right? Disable it, block it, whatever you have to do.
I think that's like the minimum thing that you could do for security on a like super duper budget is just go exactly that, right? Just if you're not using the computer for that particular port or thing or tool, delete it, turn it off, shut it off.
Yep. I mean, that's just security best practices, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Right. Don't have any, insecure protocols operating, right? Like don't run telnet and FTP if you can avoid it. And if you do have to do it, then, lock it down and all that good stuff. And then the other thing is just disable the services if you don't use them, right? If your server doesn't need to be acting as a DNS server, disable DNS. Then if it doesn't need to be a web server, disable the web server. Um, I know it sounds easy and it's probably a little more involved, but really it shouldn't be that hard to go through and do this. So anyway, but so yeah, 2011 was another instance. But there's a great book I actually have on
What
my
is it?
shelf here called At War, and it's at sign and then war, and it's all
Okay.
about United States and the things we've done um, from a cyber warfare front. And it talks about some of the stuff, not that we do it, but that we have the capability to do it. And then there's another one too. I think it's called Countdown to Zero. And Countdown to Zero really goes in depth on Stuxnet. That's kind of the main purpose of that book. But it talks about how these huge systems are vulnerable and how they have been potentially leveraged in the past. We don't have evidence to confirm, but we have suspicions that like oil pipelines were manipulated in a way that they exploded and stuff like that. So
Oh, I mean, I can guarantee that's for sure because especially
yeah,
in the past, there wasn't like not everybody had the minimal systems today that can log everything, for example.
yeah,
And people still don't, right? Even today. So,
yeah. I mean, I remember sitting in a talk in 13 ish at I want to say Black Hat, and gosh, I can't remember the company that was giving the talk, but they basically got up and they were talking about hacking a oil refinery, and the oil refinery had all these sensors, on all their different
Machines and whatnot.
machines, yeah, like storage units, measuring how much oil was in a drum or whatever it was,
Yeah.
and they were all communicating with each other wirelessly. Well, the way that was implemented was, yes, it was encrypted, but the way that they were communicating with each other is they passed the private key back and forth over the wire with the encrypted message.
Okay.
And so if you're within 2 miles, I think if I remember correctly, and you had the chops to intercept radio signals, you could grab the encrypted message and the private key and then decrypt it,
That's great.
and then you could manipulate the system and say everything was normal, but at the same time also adjusting the bells and whistles to make it not operate properly, which is exactly what happened during Stuxnet. So um, yeah, so those systems happen. Hopefully now that it's 2021, we've got a little bit more security baked in, but
Hopefully.
yep.
But then again, like I said, it's like not every big city or small town can afford these things. So as
Nope.
hopeful as you can
Exactly.
be, it's definitely not everybody out there. That's for sure. No matter what. Not everybody's covered.
Yeah. I know. Hopefully, these, especially like at the federal level, hopefully our country will invest more in the cyber infrastructure and cybersecurity stuff.
For sure.
I know there's been some initiatives in the last, decade, but, um, like I was just listening to the radio and they had an ad for more IT security jobs, so and the only reason I say that is because now that I hear my job being offered on the radio, I wonder what the flood of people that are going to be jumping into this field are going to be, and then also on top of that, how much need we're going to have for all these people. And I know we've been saying this stuff for years, but it's concerning a little to know that it's 2021 and this stuff still exists, and we've been harping on it since I don't know, at least a decade. So, but it
Well, I
always
mean,
takes a big breach for someone to finally respond. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, exactly. Right? It's like, unless it happens to them, they don't want to invest it, right? That's typically usually the problem. And
Yep.
on top of that, it's always a battle. You're always one step ahead or behind. So
Always behind.
always behind. Yeah.
In our field, incident response, we're always behind. We're always reacting, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I mean, we
that's
can do
true.
proactive stuff, but we're always
That's true.
reacting eventually. So, but yeah,
We're trying to get people to be proactive. But so
you can be proactive by not putting stuff online that you don't need to have online.
yep.
All
Or
right,
you
I'm
can
done.
just
I'm
go to
getting off my
your
soapbox.
just take your old TeamViewer offline essentially. So
Yeah, get rid
Oldsmar
of
Water
TeamViewer.
Treatment System Facility, if you're listening out there, we didn't mean to pick on you. We're just trying to make an example.
Yep.
Or something like that.
Yeah,
But
you're not alone. You're one of many, but it's again, it's 2021. Let's get our stuff together.
get it together.
So,
People of Oldsmar, you are safe. Your water is okay, apparently, from what the reports say. I'm
and if you
just
live in Oldsmar,
repeating
never
that.
mind. I'll
If
stop.
you're reading in Oldsmar, you're concerned about your water, contact your local city water treatment facility. I'm sure they can figure that out at this point, what to tell you. But with that said, that's all we got for today. Anything that we should add to this fantastic story, Matt?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Well, it's been real.
Oh, quick reminder for the guys out there that or ladies,
Yes.
anyone who has a partner coming up. It's Valentine's Day this weekend, so here's your warning. Don't look like the nincompoop when it comes time for Valentine's Day and not having a present or a card or flowers or whatever.
That's a great public service announcement. So yeah, to our 3-4 followers out there, thanks for listening in. If you're new, like and subscribe.
You meant
And
300 to 400
yeah,
listeners.
yeah, I'm abbreviating. You know, like when
Yeah.
currency gets inflated, they start just chopping off zeros.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I just did right there.
Yep. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We're 4.4 listeners because it's 4.4 million.
Million. Millions. Why not billions? But all right. Well, it's been real. Thanks for listening in. Like and subscribe. Till next time.
Bye.